How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather Spawn Drop. Today is December 23rd, 2021, and today we're going to forecast the probability you'll experience a white Christmas this year in the United States. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. So let's begin by taking a look at the current United States radar, which will be a huge factor when determining whether or not you'll experience a white Christmas in a certain region in the United States. And we do see that there are two areas of disturbances when it comes to winter weather we're taking a look at. We're, of course, taking a look at this small little clipper system moving through the northeast at this time throughout the northern Great Lakes, and it's dumping a decent amount of snow showers throughout the northern portion of Michigan. Just north of Detroit, you're experiencing right around moderate to heavier snow showers, and we're now starting to see the snow approach Buffalo and even as far east as the Pocono Mountain regions of Pennsylvania. However, this clipper system is very weak. As you could probably tell, the area of snow showers isn't very large at all, so don't expect a lot of snow from this, and it won't make a huge difference in terms of whether or not you'll experience a white Christmas. And by the way, a white Christmas is pretty much defined as at least an inch of snow on the ground during the Christmas time frame. So even if it may not necessarily snow on Christmas, it's still could you still could be under the category of a white Christmas, because you still have at least an inch or more of snow on the ground. And although this snowstorm won't really dump probably over an inch of snow in most areas, a lot of areas in the northern northeast as well as the northern Great Lakes still have over an inch of snow on the ground so far, and it does seem like the temperatures will be warm enough for that snow to really melt or go anywhere. So the probability for a white Christmas is still high, especially in the extreme northern portions of the United States. But if we take a look further westward, we're seeing a multitude of troughs that are going to move through the west coast and bring a lot of precipitation throughout the west coast, and a lot of that will be snowfall in the higher elevations of California. This extends to the Pacific Northwest as well, just to the east of Seattle, Portland, and the higher elevations. You're seeing some snow showers, and you're expecting to see a lot more, as we're going to see a continuous stream of moisture come off the Pacific Northwest coast and bring a lot of snow showers and heavy snowfall throughout the higher elevations of the west coast. So that definitely will enhance your chance of a white Christmas throughout those regions, but we still need to take a look at other factors such as the future temperature, as well as the exact amount of precipitation you'll receive, or at least snowfall accumulation you'll receive in each specific region. So let's take a look at that by taking a look at the GFS model at this time, and you see that we do see a little bit of a pretty powerful trough just off the California coast, and it's bringing heavier snowfall throughout Nevada as well as the Sierra mountain ranges of California. So we're seeing a heavy amount of snowfall, and that should definitely contribute to a high probability of a white Christmas throughout the west coast. But if we were to continue to move forward, it's not only the higher elevations of the west coast that will likely see a white Christmas this year. We also need to take a look at the east coast, because we're going to see another trough that's pretty much a derivative from this trough that's currently off the Pacific Northwest coast, and it's going to move further eastward, and we're going to see just enough unstable air for some lift and convection to occur, and the temperatures should be cold enough in some regions of the northeast for snowfall to occur, and it could happen on Christmas Day. So not only will you experience a white Christmas when it comes to actual snowfall accumulation on the ground, but you might experience a white Christmas in terms of snow falling out of the sky, which is very rare for most of the United States, because typically it's very rare for a large area of the United States to be under snowfall or experience snowfall during Christmas. But you might experience some snowfall right around upstate New York, where you are seeing a mixture, or at the very least maybe some sleet out of this low pressure system. So there is that possibility that you could experience a white Christmas right around the Christmas time frame, and especially when it comes to snow falling out of the sky. And you see that in Connecticut and Massachusetts, you're experiencing a little bit of a mixture. So you might see a rain snow mix a little bit which could add on top of the snowfall accumulation that has already fallen. And it will be a nice sight to see snow falling out of the sky during the Christmas time frame. But it does seem like it's going to be a lot of snow because the GFS model is forecasting that the temperatures will, for the most part, be warm enough that most of the Northeast will experience rain out of this trough moving through. But there are going to be some portions of the Northeast that will see some snow falling out of the sky as a result of this trough moving through, because just to the east of this low pressure system, there's going to be temperatures just cold enough to see at least some snowfall somewhere in the Northeast. And if we were to take a look at the European model is mostly similar, I'd say, for the most part. If we were to continue to move forward with the European model, they're both predicting a trough to sort of form as a result of a strong northwesterly flow and an unstable environment right around the Midwest. And we could see temperatures just cold enough for some snowfall, or at least a mixture, to fall right around the interior portions of the Northeast. But for the most part, it should be a rain event. So there is a possibility that in the areas where you do have snowfall accumulation still on the ground, it could potentially melt right around Christmas. So if you barely have snow on the ground right around your location in the Northeast, let's say barely above an inch, there is a high probability that by Christmas time the snow melts to where the snow cover is less than an inch, which is below the threshold for a white Christmas. So you need to keep that in mind if you're maybe hoping for a white Christmas when it comes to at least how much inches of snow are on the ground. But if you're in the areas where you still have a lot of inches of snow, let's say well over an inch, then you're less likely to experience you're more likely to experience a white Christmas in that location, because it's unlikely that within the next 2 days we're gonna see temperatures warm enough to completely melt the entire to melt the snowfall in general throughout the Northeast. So especially in the extreme northern portions, you're most likely going to experience a white Christmas. Well, take a look back at the West Coast, you're going to see that we're just seeing a continuous stream of moisture as a result of an atmospheric river, and we're seeing just a lot of snowfall in the higher elevations, and we're even seeing snowfall in the lower elevations of Oregon, California, and even Washington. So there is that possibility that potentially Portland might get involved in some snowfall. While I don't expect Portland to necessarily experience any sort of major accumulating snowfall, maybe a dusting, you still could experience some snow falling out of the sky for Christmas Day right around Portland. So it might be cause to get excited right around Portland, or maybe even Seattle, because we are seeing snow in the lower elevated areas, where we're even seeing snowfall occur right over the Pacific Ocean, which is quite rare, because the Pacific Ocean right around this time is still at least the sea surface temperatures are still right around the 50-degree range. So the air temperature cold enough to where it's able to offset how warm the sea surface temperatures are just off the Pacific Northwest coast really shows how cold the air will be. And we're going to see that snow extend to the lower elevations of Oregon as well as Washington. And we're even seeing that snow throughout Idaho. Utah's getting involved, Wyoming, Montana. So there's going to be a large area of snow as a result of how much cold air there is, and it could impact a lot of lower elevations. But in this scenario, it seems like this is occurring the 26th, which is a day after Christmas. But even if we were to move before then, we do still see some snowfall occurring on Christmas Day in the lower elevated areas of Oregon as well as Washington. So in Portland, you might experience some snowfall, which would definitely be a huge shock to everyone, where you typically don't see snowfall every day right around Portland, and especially on Christmas Day. So it might be a cause to get excited for you guys right around Portland. But I'd say in the higher elevations of California, as well as the extreme northern portions of the Midwest and Northeast, you're most likely to experience a white Christmas this year, because you accumulated a lot of snowfall from the past snowstorms that pass through your guys' area, so it's unlikely that the temperatures will be warm enough over the next 2 days for that snowfall to melt by the time Christmas time comes around. So I'd say for the extreme northern portions of the United States in general, you're most likely going to experience a white Christmas. It becomes a little bit more uncertain as you head further southward, where you didn't experience as much snowfall, and of course the temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer, so faster pace of melting is more likely to occur. So it will be a little bit more uncertain, but I'll do my best to forecast the probability of a white Christmas based on the current circumstances and the future circumstances that are bound to occur within the next 2 days. But let's take a look at the forecast of accumulated snowfall from the European model. Let's extend to right around the Christmas time, and right around Christmas you could experience a good area of 1 to 3 to maybe 3 to 6 inches throughout North Dakota, as well as the extreme northern portion of South Dakota. So if you haven't experienced snowfall accumulation just yet in those areas, right around Christmas might be the time you will experience some snowfall accumulation. And just take a look at the West Coast over the next 3 days. Just a ton of snowfall extending through California, Oregon, and Washington. It's pretty much inevitable that in the higher elevations you'll experience a white Christmas. And extending to the northeast, we do see maybe an inch of snowfall, especially towards southern upstate New York, and maybe around southern Maine and the northern portion of New Hampshire and Vermont. And we even maybe see a little bit of a dusting right around Connecticut and Boston, and just outside the Boston area. So there is that possibility that even further southward, closer to Hartford or maybe even Boston, you could maybe experience some snowfall this Christmas. While I doubt you'll actually experience an inch of snowfall from this next coming from these next few snowstorms, you will likely see maybe at least some snowfall fall out of the sky right around Christmas time, which for some people is good enough for a white Christmas. But in this video, the scientific term for a white Christmas is pretty much at least 1 inch of snow needs to accumulate on the ground and stay there on Christmas. And it seems like that I'd say most of the northern United States will be involved in that, but it becomes a little bit more uncertain, like I said, throughout the southern United States. But let's take a look at the temperature throughout the United States to really see where you're most likely to experience a little bit of melting over the next few days. Let's take a look at the temperature right now. Let me find it first. Okay, the 2-meter temperature anomaly. Actually, no. Let's take a look at the actual temperature because it gives a better idea of if you'll experience above freezing or below freezing temperatures. But if we were to continue to move forward, you see that the Northeast will actually stay for the most part cold enough to where the snow won't melt, especially in the interior Northeast. But you do see that approaching Christmas time, we begin to see a little bit of a warm up as this trough moves through, where we begin to see temperatures in the 50s, the 40s, and this even extends to the interior Northeast later, which could accelerate the melting process, which in the southern regions you may experience melting to a point where you'll see less than an inch of snowfall. But in the higher elevations of the West Coast, you're pretty much going to stay below freezing most of the time, so it shouldn't be a worry there. But you see that still for the northern portion of the Midwest, you're going to experience mostly below freezing temperatures. So I'd say for the most part, snow melt is unlikely in that region. So that's definitely something we need to consider when forecasting the probability of white Christmas. Another thing to consider is the snow cover throughout the United States, because if we were to take a look at the snow cover, you see that most of the higher elevations of the West Coast has at least some sort of snow on the ground. And I'd say for most of these areas, it's pretty much unlikely or guaranteed that none of this snow will melt, because the temperatures will be too cold overall for any sort of snowfall to melt. We're going to see a continuous stream of troughs moving through, bringing a strong northwesterly flow, and that'll keep temperatures below freezing for the most part. But if we were to take a look further eastward, I'd say the northern Midwest, it's unlikely snow will melt, and in fact, we should see a little bit more snow right around Christmas. So we could see a little bit more snow cover right around South Dakota and North Dakota, but we could see a little bit of melting right around Northeast. But at the same time, before that happens, we could see snowfall right around Connecticut and Boston. So that's something we need to consider as well. So next, I'm gonna show you guys now my official 2021 white Christmas forecast. So in the areas in the dark shaded purple, you're gonna see that the northern portion of Maine, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and as well as Minnesota, and like saying the northern Michigan and Wisconsin, you're pretty much likely to experience a white Christmas. 75 to 100% chance. This extends the Sierra mountain ranges of California, the Cascades of the Pacific Northwest, as well as Idaho, and extending to the higher elevations of Colorado as well. You're most likely to experience a white Christmas because not only will temperatures be cool enough for no sort of melting to occur, but you're going to experience major snowstorms over the next couple of days, which should enhance a chance of a white Christmas. And then in the lower elevated areas, you still will experience a 50 to 75% chance, as temperatures will most likely be below freezing, and you will experience some sort of snowfall in these areas. So for the most, and it's unlikely that even if there is a little bit of melting in the Northeast, it's unlikely that the temperatures above freezing will be enough to completely dissolve all the snowfall that's currently on the surface in those areas. So 50 to 75% chance in the areas shaded pink. If we were to take a look for our southward, there's a 25 to 50% chance. So you're less likely to experience a white Christmas, so there still certainly is that possibility, especially if the snowstorm ends up being a little bit more potent than initially expected. We have to wait and see, but there is that possibility you could experience an additional inch of snow just south of the pink, right around upstate New York, and this extends to North Dakota and South Dakota as well, where you're going to experience a little bit of a snowstorm moving through. And then just south of that, it's pretty much only a 10 to 25% chance, as you're highly unlikely to experience a white Christmas, as there needs to be a pretty drastic change in the forecast for you to experience a white Christmas, or at least an inch of snow on the ground for this Christmas. So it is my white Christmas forecast. If you want an even more in-depth forecast regarding the probability of a white Christmas in your location, just comment your city or location or area down below, and I'll make sure to give you guys an exact percent chance of your probability of a white Christmas, which means pretty much at least 1 inch of or more of snowfall on the ground. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great holiday season. Make sure to like if you like this video, and I hope you guys have a good day and a great holiday season.